Welcome to Tools, Tech, and Gear. I'm Seth. AYAMAYA just sent me their 4-season backpacking tent. Let's open this up and see what it's all about. As dimensions go, the bag is slightly over a foot, has carrying straps on top, and the webbing is actually pretty thick. You can cinch down right here. Yeah. And then it also has those clips on there, and then we can unzip. That's nice. The bag unzips more than just the top on this side. I oftentimes keep these straps because it does help to tie it up like it was just now. All right, let's unfold this and get it assembled. Bag of poles, bag of stakes, and then a gear loft. And then the fly is on top as well. So let's go ahead and unwrap this. This is one of those tents that claims to be a 2-person, but oftentimes those are 1.5 people. We'll see if this one is going to be big enough for 2 to actually get into. We'll go ahead and get the poles out of the storage bag. Now, one thing that makes this 4-season is that the bathtub base folds up along the side, which we'll look at here in a minute more, but it's just going to help it be more snow and water resistant. And the other thing that makes this a 4-season tent is the way the fly folds down and covers up more of your base. But, all right, let me get these poles undone. As I'm putting the poles together, it's got a central 6-sided hub that all of the poles connect to, and then they fold out from there. 2 sides are short and the other 4 are the same length, and they are just going to snap into the tent. But first of all, they go into the grommets on each side. All right, looking nice. Now that I have these 4 side poles in, I'm going to get these little ones attached here on these grommets, just like that, and then get the other side as well. And this just kind of helps to hold things up a bit. I'm going to go ahead and put these 4 stakes in to keep this from blowing away. Okay, I have everything nice and tight. Let's go ahead and unzip the door full. Now this does have a door on both sides. My kids have been playing in here already. All right, I'm going to go ahead and roll this up and just store it out of the way using this little tab here. Let's take a tour real quick of this tent. So it does roll up nicely so you can enter and exit without any hindrance on this giant door. And the bathtub floor does have seams there with the tape, but it is nice and tall here on the side. That's somewhere around at least 6 inches up, which is really nice. And as you can see, there's plenty of ventilation with the doors and the mesh. Basically just has that one little strip that's not mesh. Seems to be nice and firm. Can support a decent bit of snow on there. So let's step inside for a second. Yeah, so there is a hook up here where you can hang some gear. And then these toggles right here will allow that gear loft. We'll have to hook that up and see it. There's also some storage bags on the side. Looks like just one on that side and not one over here. The bathtub floor is nice and firm. Shouldn't have any issues with that collapsing. I like it. Now the corners are reinforced. You can see it's a bit darker color there. Nice. All right, let's hook up that gear loft and then we'll put the fly on. Oh yeah, as far as the door closure goes, it's got double zipper, so you can zip this in both directions. So for the gear loft, you should just be able to take this little toggle, stick it in there like that, and then go over to the next one and just continue down until all 4 of them have been installed like that. There we go, the gear loft is up. Now of course that blocks your hook up there, so if you just want to set a light on that to read by or whatever, would be nice, but if you want to hang something, you'd have to at least get one corner out for that hook to be exposed. Now it's time to get the fly on. I'm anticipating this fly to be symmetrical because the tent itself is symmetrical. See about getting this on here. Now another thing that makes this tent 4-season is the way the fly extends out past the tent. I'll show you that in just a moment. Next to the stakes down here, there's one of those plastic clips you can clip the fly into and cinch that up to tighten it down. Let me move over to the next one. So each corner is just going to have one of those. I've got all the corners cinched down. Let me find this piece right here that can be pulled out. You're gonna help me?
Yeah.
All right, we gotta take this stake and push it down into the ground right here.
Okay, can I help? Can I help?
Yeah, you hold on to those.
What?
Okay, so we need one more stake to go right here.
Can I do it?
Yep.
Me?
Okay, see this yellow line right here? This is called a guy line, and that allows you to put a stake in the ground and prevent the wind from blowing this side away.
Why?
Because we don't want the wind to blow it. So what we're going to do is undo this.
Daddy! No, but this is my watch. That's the way we do it.
Okay, watch this. So take your stake right here.
Right in here, right there, like that.
Let's see, we want this piece right
here. Well, that's a word.
Here, you can do another one. Just this is Emma's turn, all right? So put the stake right in there and go to the ground. Okay. Put your stake right in here. Push, push, push. All right, both of my kids are inside having a good time. We put out a couple of the guy lines, and we've got these little trailing tails here so that snow can accumulate on. And those do flap around pretty loose, so shouldn't have any problems with those staying out. So you can access both doors from the fly pretty easily. It's got some Velcro down here, but that zipper just goes down there to the bottom. And there are plenty of these, 4 of them, to pull that out if need be. The door can be looped up to the side. There are some vents up here at the top that have these little kickstands, and you can open that from right here if you needed to. Just fold that down if it's raining. The fly is held on by these straps on the corner, which you can then pull to tighten, and also a single stake out here on the side. So this may be the one weak spot of the tent, and that's that if this stake gets pulled up in a heavy wind. Other than that, it seems to be well built and should withstand a good bit of snow. Tomorrow and the next day, we're supposed to get some rain and sleet. So I'm gonna leave this up for the next 2 days. It's also supposed to be about 7 degrees out here, and it should give us a good test of whether or not this holds up some snow or leaks during being wet. So I think it's gonna be back up above freezing the next day, and so we will have whatever's on it will melt off and we should be able to see if anything gets in here. So I will bring you back. It's a balmy 18 degrees out right now, and we got some snow. I wanted to see how well the tent did out here in this little bit of snow. It was also very windy last night. The house was shaking, and it looks like the flaps have stayed out where they need to be. We got some rain before it snowed, and definitely has some ice stuck there to the fly. So anyway, the guy lines did well in that wind. I don't see any issues. Let's open this up here and see what we're like inside. Yeah, that thing is frozen. That's fun. All right. So we should be able to see if there was any water that got down in here. I'm seeing some up under the tent, but not in the tent there. Let's go ahead and climb in and see what we can find out. Yeah, seems fine. Ground is cold under there, but I don't see any water. All the leaves are just because my kids were having a good time in here. All right, so while we're here, let's go ahead and check out the dimensions of this tent. So if my feet are within a couple inches there of the end and I lay down, you can see I've still got a couple inches here. So I am 5'11", which means if you were any taller than 6 foot, you may have trouble in this tent unless you sleep diagonally. So if I were to sleep diagonal, you know, I got an extra couple inches up top here, and then, you know, almost a foot down there. So that would work out. But as far as sleeping with somebody else in here, it would work. I think this is definitely big enough for 2 people. You got all that room over there, basically an arm's length. And then over here, I've still got a little bit. So, and as far as height goes, I've got at least 4 or 5 inches up top to comfortably sit up in. So yeah, this thing would definitely work as a 2-person tent. Be a little cramped, but as far as single person, definitely plenty big enough. So as features go, it's nice to have the hook up top, and this extra little gear loft is also nice. Now, of course, it's kind of limiting. If you have the gear loft up, you can't really use that hook. It's got the single storage over here, which is plenty fine enough. The corners are all extra seamed, so that should be good. The bathtub floor has 1 seam that is taped. Other than that, everything is 1 solid piece. Yeah, it just seems like a nice tent. I think it will do well in the winter time, as we saw here. Vestibule space with the door closed. Well, let's go over here so you can see it. All right, so about 2.5 feet out, and it's enough for boots and probably a pack as well down there in the vestibule, and there's 2 of those. And yeah, it's just nice. So it is also nice to have the extra flap that comes out here to capture that snow, so it won't be blowing up against your tent. Whenever this ground thaws out, we will put this back in the bag, but it seems like the bag is a really good size. I think it will be big enough to get the tent back into without much of a struggle. Now on the little rain flap here, there's just a single piece of Velcro right down here at the bottom, but it seems like it's taut enough that you won't be getting any water up under that. Let's see how far the rain and snow got up here. Yeah, so that was no problem up on that. I was just looking at this. Inside the fly, there's a zipper, but how do you get to that from inside the tent? I don't remember seeing a zipper up in here. Yeah, so there's no zipper inside the tent to get to that, so I'm not exactly sure. I guess maybe you unzip the door and reach around and do it that way. The wind is blowing around again pretty good, and the tent does not seem to be moving whatsoever. So the 4 guy lines have really helped out a lot to keep that from going anywhere. So I definitely think that would be fairly quiet, even in a decent wind. All right, I feel like this tent has withstood a lot of wind the past 3 or 4 days, and then also no problems with holding back that snow. So let me go ahead and take this down and put it back in the bag. When I get back in the house, I'll open it up and get all the moisture out, but I just want to see how well it breaks down here. Okay, so it is about 28 degrees out here. I actually considered wearing gloves so that I could test out how this 4-season tent would break down with gloves on, but I decided to just get to work here. So far the tent has been very easy to set up and very easy to take back down. I was a little bit concerned that maybe the way the fly folds out with the one stake wouldn't be quite enough for the snow load, but with those guy lines I don't think there's going to be any issue. It seemed like it was plenty strong enough, and we honestly had a pretty serious bit of wind in one of those storms, and so I think it's going to be just fine. The poles are serviceable out in the field because they just have that bungee inside, and it looks like it's pretty easy to get to each piece if you had to do something with them. See how well these fit back in this storage bag. Okay, there we go. Nice and quick. I did not clean those leaves out of there, but I'll do that next time I have it. It's also got a lot of moisture here on the bottom side. Like I said, I'll be taking this inside, let it dry out. Something like that. Fold this one in half, I do believe. And then probably do the same where it's maybe in thirds or maybe even a fourth rollover. Have to see. Get the stakes back in the bag. All right, let me roll this. Whew. Turns out that is not water droplets, that is ice. The mountains of North Carolina, we went from having multiple days in the 70s to having multiple days in the low teens. It just got cold real quick around here. Let's see if it's going to fit in the bag. Oh, it's close. All right, we made it. All right, this is the AYAMAYA 4-season 2-person tent. It didn't quite pack down as small as it was earlier. It's my first attempt. I think a couple more times and I'll have this down pretty small. It weighs a little over 5 pounds. If you are considering this weight for backpacking, definitely would fit nicely on the outside of a pack. And if you're hiking with 2 people, definitely a good option here because I believe it will fit 2 people quite well. Well, I am Seth with Tools, Tech, and Gear. It's below freezing. I'm gonna go back into the house. Thanks for watching. If you want to pick up this tent, I have a link in the description down below to the Amazon page. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.